Welcome to the Natural Health Show with one of New England's leading natural health care specialists, Mark Mincola. Call Mark at 781-837-4900 on 95.9 WATD. He's waiting to hear from you.
Welcome home, Natural Health Nation. You are looking marvelous. It is a true pleasure, of course, to have you join us. Pull up a chair. Get nice and cozy and comfy. And together you and I will get radioactive. Great to have you on board. You know, there's an awful lot of folks this time of year that, of course, are rubbing the eyes. Did I hear you sneeze, perhaps? Or perhaps complain about a scratchy throat? It is that season, of course. It is Rhinitis season, Allogenic Rhinitis season. 41 million. That's a lot of Americans. 41 million Americans suffering from the symptoms of allergic rhinitis. Not fun. A lot of folks sneezing and coughing and all the other fun symptoms, of course, that we're also familiar with. You know, currently here in southeastern Massachusetts, there are pollen elevations for elm, cedar, juniper, poplar, aspen, cottonwood. And the index today was a 10.80, which is pretty darn high. For those of you who are really not really completely familiar with the indexes, there are actually 5 separate pollen indexes. Low is 0 to 2.4, which you surely do not have to worry about right now. Low to medium is 2.5 to 4.8. Medium is 4.9 to 7.2. Medium high 7.3 to 9.6. The higher elevations of pollen in the pollen index are between 9.7 and 12.0. So where we are right now is right around 11, between the upper 9s and 11 range. So we are indeed in the high range right now, and it is peak allogenic rhinitis season. What is allogenic rhinitis, you may ask? I think you have the general idea of what it is, but the specifics are a little bit more detailed. Most folks, of course, inherit the genetic tendency, like we all do for just about everything else, for sensitivity to allergic rhinitis. And, based on the sensitivity to specific chemicals, foods, or environmental exposures on a repeated basis, we tend to react. So, this time of year we're getting repeated exposures, no question about that. There's a lot out there right now. And a lot of experts, of course, suggesting that this is going to be one of the worst. It's already one of the worst, but suggesting it's going to get worse yet. Just peaking hasn't quite reached its peak yet because of the incredible snow, moisture. We had such an incredibly moist, wet winter, more so than usual. And that's going to make foreign substances, of course, all the more prevalent in the environment. And when you and I are exposed to those environmental exposures as such, we produce antibodies that are produced in our body. There are 5 different groups of antibody cells that we produce that are very reactive. These antibodies are specifically responsive to specific allergens at various stages of their exposure. And when your immune system has to go into high gear at neutralizing and warning you about these exposures, it triggers rapid releases of histamines, leukotrienes, and all these specialized immune cells known as mast cells that are generally located in our tissues. And these various cells and the immune responses that we put forth create the symptoms of itchy eyes, runny nose, sore throat, watery eyes, sneezing, nausea, headaches, impaired sense of smell and hearing. Fun stuff. And in addition to these sinus and eye, ear, nose, throat symptoms that so many are so familiar with, histamine reactions can also affect the throat, lungs, stomach, bladder, urinary tract, muscles, joints, central nervous system as well. Can make you feel really kind of brain foggy, confused, unable to concentrate. A lot of kids have trouble in school with allergies, obviously, and that's because of these histamines that we produce. So when we're exposed to these foreign bodies in the environment, then we produce immune antibodies that cause the symptoms. So actually, it's kind of ironic that you and I are actually creating our own symptoms. Most people are not familiar with that fact. We directly blame that stuff that's floating around in the air out there, which is indirectly responsible. Your immune system is directly responsible, however. And there's an awful lot of folks, of course, that are suffering from these problems. 41 million, as we said earlier. And a lot of folks that, of course, are using standard pharmaceutical medication or over-the-counter medications, which, you know what I'm going to tell you about those things. They all have side effects, and they call them medicines. I don't. I call them toxins because they may bring you immediate relief on the front end, but they're going to create all kinds of different side effects, contraindications, and problems on the back end. So they're not really well designed, in my opinion. Most of these medicines that like Zyrtec and things like that are going to create problems for your adrenal glands, your thyroid gland, and lymphatic system, etc. So there are certainly some prices to pay for a lot of the. In fact, you can simply you can Google the PDR, Physician's Desk Reference. PDR, Physician's Desk Reference, which pretty much gives you the lowdown on the negatives, the side effects, the contraindications, all the not so fun, not so great stuff that a lot of the over-the-counter and pharmaceutical stuff produces in your body. So a lot of folks are, of course, not aware of that fact. They just say, hey, look, I get these allergic symptoms, I take medication, that's that. Well, we're trying to encourage a little bit of enlightenment here. So we just as soon you take a look at what the prospects of you using those medicines are, because what we do here on the Natural Health Show is give you alternatives, safe, viable alternatives to dealing with allergy. That is what we're here for tonight. And my name is Mark Minkola. You're listening to the Natural Health Show, 95.9 FM WATD. We will be right back right after these messages.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. Now is the perfect time to try one of our total body cleanses. Antibiotics, processed foods, gravies, and desserts take their toll on your body. Nutritional cleansing is a great way to get back into balance, detoxify, lose weight, and improve digestion. We carry organic cleanses and specific cleanses for your liver, pancreas, or colon. Try an easy diet cleanse kit to jumpstart your metabolism and lose a few inches. Visit Good Health in Quincy and Hanover today. You'll find proven all-natural probiotics, enzymes, and unisex cleanses by Renew Life and Enzymatic Therapy. Many of our products are being used by professional athletes and in the world's top spas. So see us online at goodhealthnaturalfood.com. You'll find clean products that really work. Don't just talk about it, do it today. Visit our Hanover store on Route 53 and watch for our new Good Health Market open at Quincy Center. And thanks for listening.
You know, when most people hear the word allergies, they think only of hay fever-like symptoms associated with airborne pollen, dust, and mold. But did you know that many experts estimate that between 60 and 80 million of us suffer from immune-related food allergies without even knowing it? Furthermore, food allergies often contribute to serious health problems such as autism, irritable bowel syndrome, ADD, headaches, and chronic ear infections. Now, there's an effective way to identify and eliminate both your food allergies and the troubling symptoms that they aggravate. Allotest Medical Labs at foodallergy.com offers a full complement of clinical, environmental, and food allergy testing to help you get to the root of your allergy problems. Allotest also provides you with a comprehensive rotation diet, lifestyle booklet, and a wallet card to help you live food allergy-free and stress-free. Do you wonder if you or your loved ones are among the 60 to 80 million food allergy sufferers in America? If so, log on to Allotest Medical Labs, foodallergy.com. Talk to your doctor about ordering a food allergy test from Allotest Medical Labs today. Foodallergy.com. Make sure the food you're eating isn't what's depleting you.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Food, Allotest Medical Labs, Santee Holistic Center, and Healthy Living Magazine.
Hey ho, welcome back. And, I love that Southwest Airlines commercial. Gotta get away. I love that. Gotta get away. We all got to get away every now and then, and if you really do have to get away, I've got a great proposal for you. On Friday, May 3rd through May 5th, Sunday, May 5th of this year, you can join some of New England's top health and wellness experts at Vermont's quaint Landgrove Inn. During this unique weekend, you will learn how to bring health and balance into your life through holistic nutrition, intuitive awareness, mindful cooking, yoga, and more. Featured instructors include Mark Mincola. I've heard of him, by the way. He's internationally acclaimed holistic nutritionist. Suzanne Landry, Masters of Science in Nutrition, accomplished holistic nutritionist as well, food expert. John Stetson, world-renowned master mentalist and intuitive. He's a pretty remarkable man. He's a good friend of mine. I would love to introduce you all to him. He's a very special guy. I'm going to have him on the show one of these nights. Sandy Terrio, gardening and food enthusiast, and Mary Ellen LaBelle, who's a yoga instructor, a licensed, registered yoga instructor, etc. So anyway, if you want to join us, the entire Santi Holistic Healing crew at the Vermont Wellness Retreat, if you got to get away, and I'm sure many of you do got to get away, this gives you a great opportunity to get away and have some fun. Our weekend package, of course, includes lodging at the Landgrove Inn for 2 nights, 5 gluten-free and dairy-free meals, food for thought dining experience. I'm going to be giving a presentation called Food for Thought during the dinner evening on Friday night. So while you're eating, you can listen to me, and I'll give you indigestion. How's that? That's a fair trade. No, I won't do that. I promise not to disturb your meal. I'm going to try to see if I can impart you with some wisdom about nutrition while you're dining, inspire you in ways that'll make your food go down nice and smoothly. So I'll be speaking on Friday night. I'll be talking again on Saturday as well. I believe that's going to be a lecture called Food is Medicine on Saturday. Also, morning yoga classes with Mary Ellen LaBelle, mindful cooking classes with Suzanne Landry, Sandy Terrio, an evening with Master Mentalist John Stetson, an all-around fun weekend of great information, inspiring information, clean food, the beautiful, fresh Vermont air, etc., etc., etc. So come and join us, and I think you'll really enjoy yourself. If you're interested in this information, give us a call at Santi at 781-383-3393. Mostly threes in there, isn't there? 781-383-3393. Play that number, 33333. All right, so reserve your spot. Get on that one. Also want to mention, too, that Good Health Natural Foods, of course, has their grande openingo. Their grand opening will be Saturday and Sunday, April 27th, 28th, coming soon at the end of this month. They're definitely in biz in their new store at 1630 Hancock Street in Quincy. Beautiful place, all nicely shiny wooden floors and expansive environment there. Great parking for 30, 40 cars. A remarkable shopping experience at Good Health Natural Foods in Quincy, formerly the Blockbuster Video. So check them out. And try to join us because there's going to be some special events on that grand opening weekend, April 27th, 28th. There's going to be a lot of South Shore healthcare celebrities there, including yours truly. I'll be signing books there between 12 and 2 on that Saturday, the 27th. So come on down, let me sign a book for you. Love to meet you, shake your hand, and chat with you about your nutrition. Also, there's going to be gift baskets and fun for the whole family. So join the entire Good Health crew at 1630 Hancock Street in Quincy, and that's going to be Saturday and Sunday, April 27, 28. Look forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, back on point. We're talking with you about your precious immune system, about your breathing pathways, about your eyes, ears, nose, and throat, because they are under duress, according to an awful lot of people and an awful lot of experts as well right now. This is allergy season. Allergic rhinitis is something that strikes 41 million of us. So there's an awful lot of folks, of course, that are dealing with histamine problems because obviously when, as we said earlier, when you're exposed to these foreign proteins, these what we call allergens from various pollens, again, as I said earlier, elm, cedar, juniper, poplar, aspen, cottonwood, floating about even as we speak. And the allergy index, the pollen index is almost 11 today. It was 10.80. That is high because it only goes as high as 12. So the pollen index goes from 0 to 12. It's right about 11 now. That gives you a pretty good picture of what you're up against when you go out the door and take a deep breath, and you're getting hit with all kinds of foreign proteins called allergens. When that happens, your body gets reactive. It produces substances in your immune system. It triggers specialized immune cells that are called mast cells located in your various tissues and lymph systems. As histamine is produced by these mast cells, and histamine, of course, is released into the tissues and creates a reaction which causes all those symptoms that we're all familiar with: itchy eyes, runny nose, sore throat, watery eyes, sneezing, stuffiness, nausea, headaches, impaired sense of smell and hearing, and worse, a lot of kids, of course, having to go to school and having to concentrate, and soon there will be exams and all that stuff, and here we are confronted with all this allergenesis, which, of course, according to many researchers, many experts, leads to increased problems with concentration and confusion. So many folks are really not aware of the fact that allergies actually do a number on the brain and create confusion and spacey thinking and all that stuff. So kind of hard to go to work, go to school, take exams, etc. when you're dealing with that business. And what does the world of medicine have in tow for us? Zyrtec. Well, there are many alternatives, of course, to Zyrtec, but let's talk a little bit about what you're up against here in terms of some interesting natural alternatives and obviously safer, cleaner ways to deal with this stuff. And there's a really interesting report that I found in Science News Daily. This was published in the March 26th report. Scientific review of 63 published studies affirms that putting small amounts of purified grasses, ragweed, dust, mites, pollen, and mold in liquid drops under the tongue is a safe and effective alternative to weekly injections of those allergens or the use of other medications in treating symptoms of allergies and allergenic asthma in many people. Results of the review conducted by researchers at Johns Hopkins University are contained in a report to be published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. That was March 27th. The report is believed to be the largest synopsis of its kind, reviewing previous research comparing various therapies designed to stop the wheezing, sneezing, teasing. No, I threw that one in. Wheezing, sneezing, and runny nose. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry, Larry. Runny nose, allergenic rhinoconjunctivitis, which basically means red eyes, red itchy eyes and all that stuff. Allergic asthma. Researchers say that specifically the Johns Hopkins team analyzed 63 studies, including some 5,131 participants, almost all in Europe, where allergy drops, or so-called sublingual immunotherapy, have been widely available for nearly 2 decades. Now, the reason for that, people, these are homeopathic medicines. Okay? Homeopathy is huge in Europe. It is a backdoor medicine here in the United States, even though you have heard of it, likely, if you're a listener to this show with any regularity, no doubt you've heard of homeopathy. Homeopathy in Europe is widespread. It's a broad-spectrum medicine. It's a popular medicine. It's something that's been around for 20, 30 years, quite commonly, all throughout Europe. Is a mainstream medicine in Europe. Not here, of course. But again, what we're saying with this report, this study from Johns Hopkins, is a really powerful shot in the arm for natural medicine. It's an incredibly powerful study. And it really is it's a game changer, because in this country, of course, everything is pharmaceutically driven. It's all about Lilly, Pfizer, and Merck, as you all know. Everything is about Lilly, Pfizer, and Merck, and it's just getting worse. However, in this case, not so. The worm has turned. This is a review of a meta-study of 63 published studies saying that for years and years and years here in America, we're doing the allergy shots. And the allergy shots, of course, are the staple, something that have been counted on here for decades. And when you talk to people, when I've talked to people over the past 30 years about, hey, you could do the same thing with drops under the tongue that are homeopathic medicines, that are natural over-the-counter medicines, you don't have to go to the doctor for those shots, they look at you cross-eyed. What do you mean? That's not possible, is it? Well, you know, this study says, this review of 63 studies, I should say, is indeed a shot in the arm for that. This suggests that there is no difference between the two. They are comparable. So for you to actually take the time to go down to Good Health Natural Foods, get the Pollen Drops, which are homeopathic, as I said. They're called BioAllers. 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 Over the counter. No side effects, no problem. Safe. Effective. According to these remarkable studies that are reviews of 63 published studies that affirm that the small amounts of purified grasses, ragweed, dust mites, pollen, and mold that are put in these little homeopathic tinctures that you can go down to Good Health Natural Foods and buy, called bio-Allergies. Same thing, same situation. You're going to get the same effect, same positive response that you would going and getting shots at the docs. Now, the docs aren't going to tell you that. No, we got a special formula. It's not the same thing. Baloney. According to this review of 63 studies, same deal. No side effects. That's the key. Published in the Journal of the American Medical Association back in March 27, a couple weeks back. So really important that they looked at 63 studies, including 5,131 participants, and the allergy drops that are homeopathic sublinguals were as effective. So, in 8 of the 13 studies evaluated, researchers found that what they said is strong evidence that, listen to this, listen closely. 8 of the 13 studies evaluated, researchers found that they said there is strong evidence that the homeopathic drops produced a 40% greater reduction 40% greater reduction in coughing, wheezing, and tightness in the chest when compared to other treatments, including the inhaled steroids. What a shocker. Mainstream medicine is not the only way, folks. I understand that most people are deluged, brainwashed, and otherwise convinced that the only way is pharmaceutical, according to this meta-review of 63 studies produced by Dr. Sandra Lin from Johns Hopkins University Medical Center, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association on March 27th, a few weeks ago. Homeopathy is 40% more effective in 8 of these 13 reviews, and at least as effective in the remainder. So I go back to the years when people said, homeopathy, that's not a real medicine. Sorry to bum you out, folks. It is a real medicine. Been a real medicine for years. Been a mainstream medicine in Europe for the past 2 decades. We're finally breaking the ice over here. Unfortunately, sorry about that, Lilly, Pfizer, and Merck. So you got allergies this time of year, get on down to Good Health Natural Foods, pull out your wallet and plunk down a few bucks for a simple, safe homeopathic remedy. bio-Allergies pollen drops. Bingo, bango, bongo. Great stuff. Easy to give the kids. Why? It tastes like water. Simple. Tastes like water. Easy to dispense. Anybody can tolerate it. You got no side effects. You got no contraindications. Where's the downside? There isn't one. Effective, safe, inexpensive, readily available, over the counter. Get on down to GH. All right, a couple other things here. There's been some remarkable research as well on Butterbur. We've talked about it before on the show. We've talked about Butterbur many, many times on the Good Health Natural Health Show. Butterbur is an herb that is very prevalent, again, in Europe. Many clinical studies in Europe. It's a flowering plant called the Butterbur plant. And for hay fever sufferers and any kind of allergic rhinitis sufferers, the European clinical studies have clearly demonstrated that Butterbur as an herbal medicine, a flowering herb, can be as effective as the leading allergy drug Zyrtec and Allegra. As effective. Clinical trials from Europe continually prove and reveal Butterbur is as effective at alleviating allogenic symptoms as Zyrtec and Allegra. The first randomized double-blind study, standardized Butterbur extract, reported by Swiss researchers in the British Medical Journal back in 2002, reviewed 125 seasonal hay fever sufferers at 4 clinics in Switzerland and Germany. 61 patients were treated with 1 tablet of Butterbur extract of 8 milligrams Petasin. P-E-T-A-S-I-N is the main ingredient. P-E-T-A-S-I-N, Petasin. That's the natural antioxidant in the Butterbur plant that makes it work as an allogenic medicine. P-E-T-A-S-I-N, potassin. There's another one called isopotassin as well. They dramatically improve breathing, reduce the histamine effects, nasal congestion with no side effects. So all 4 clinics in Switzerland and Germany found 61 patients were treated with 1 tablet of Butterbur extract containing 8 milligrams of potassin 4 times a day. 64 patients were treated with 10 milligrams of Zyrtec, taken once daily. All participants had suffered seasonal allergies for 2 or more consecutive years. In skin testing, all but one of the 125 patients proved to be allergic to pollens, most commonly grass pollens. After 2 weeks of daily treatment, all participants were judged by their physicians to be improved in clinical examinations. All were shown to have been exposed to substantial levels of pollen during the preceding 2 weeks. Through cross-checking the treatment period of the German experiment, the German government actually reviewed these research results as well. What the researchers and the overseers noted is most significantly that in every category, Butterbur scored as well as Zyrtec in alleviating all symptoms of allergenesis. The Butterbur was as efficient as the Zyrtec in all studies without, here's the key, without producing drowsiness or fatigue, without side effects, without contraindications. The Butterbur was equally as effective without side effects. So European clinical studies continue to reveal that Butterbur as an herb is as effective as Zyrtec and Allegra without drowsiness, without fatigue, without side effects, without contraindications. Safe, natural medicine that works. Very inexpensive, fun for the whole family. Hey, we got a lot more studies we're going to talk about that were done in Switzerland, etc. We come back from these breaks, we're going to talk more about your precious immune system, your current exposure to allergies, and what you can do about it safely, effectively, and inexpensively. Stay tuned. Be right back. Hi, this is Mark Mincola. You know, over the past decade, the Natural Health Show has attracted many thousands of avid listeners. I'd like to extend an open invitation to all potential new sponsors to join our Natural Health Show family. If you own a Heart Smart lighter fare or seafood restaurant, a fitness or day spa, or if you're an allied health professional or coach, the Natural Health Show is the perfect place for you to make the direct connection with your demographic target. If you really want to zero in and aim the message of your vision directly at those who want to most know about it, join the Natural Health Show family of sponsors. I promise you'll be glad you did. For information, call Candida at 781-834-2728. That's 781-834-2728. With the burgeoning growth of the Natural Health Show, now's the perfect time to share in that growth together.
Take part in the Health and Fitness Expo, Symposium, and 5K Road Race in Plymouth, May 5th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., held at the Radisson in downtown Plymouth. You'll learn about leading a healthier, happier life. Explore fitness, yoga, readings, healing, jewelry, nutrition, Reiki, massage, essential oils, anti-aging, and so much more. Free admittance to the exhibit hall for the whole family. Highlights include a 5K road race along the waterfront, Stay Fit demonstrations offering ACE CECs, inspirational workshops offering CEUs, family activities, an exhibitor marketplace, even a blood drive by the American Red Cross, free giveaways, and raffle entries. Stop by the Plymouth Health and Fitness Expo, Symposium, and 5K Road Race in Plymouth, May 5th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Radisson Plymouth Waterfront Hotel, downtown Plymouth. Find out more at myhealthylivingmag.com. Exhibitors call 781-834-2728, 781-834-2728 to get involved today.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Food, Allotest Medical Labs, Santee Holistic Center, and Healthy Living Magazine.
Heidi, Heidi, ho. How's it going out there, ladies and gentlemen, Radio Land? Hopefully you're not contending with allergies, breathing, and doing just fine. And I want to make sure I take a minute to thank everybody that was at St. Joseph's Retreat in Cohasset yesterday. It was a splendid, splendid event. Did my annual all-day intensive where I teach my system. And it was the first time that I ever taught the entire system in one day, but kind of a pilot approach. And we had a really special day together, all of us. There was quite a few folks there, and St. Joseph's did a great job. They did a superb job putting together great meals, healthy food for us at lunchtime, and what an incredibly gorgeous environment. If you've never been down there, check out St. Joseph's Retreat on 339 Jerusalem Road in Cohasset. And thanks also to Amy and Sandy Terrio from Santi Holistic Healing. Did a great job putting a lot of hard work and elbow grease into putting a special event together, and enjoyed meeting a lot of folks yesterday and seeing a lot of old friends as well. Folks that have taken the courses in the past and are starting to grow and evolve with it. And special day, and thanks to everybody that was there. Thanks to those of you who showed up on the doorstep, and for those of you who put it all together. So great event, and many thanks to all you. We're talking to you about your, again, precious immunity and your ability to breathe and swallow and keep those eyes from bothering you, because there's an awful lot of folks with allergic rhinitis. 41 million of us with allergic rhinitis. That's a lot of Americans that are rubbing the eyes and coughing and sneezing, and this is the season. As we said, the pollen index is way, way up there right now, and it's going to go higher. And many folks, of course, many experts indicate that this is going to be one heck of an allergy season, already well on our way to one of the worst allergy seasons in history because of all the wet, the snow, the dampness, and all that stuff that we experienced. A lot of snow in one shot there. It seems like the month of February we got hit repeatedly, concurrently. So all that has everything to do with what we're dealing with now. That's kind of how nature works. It works in concurrent waves. It's a priori. If we get snow, then we get allergies. So that's what we're up against. A lot of elm, cedar, juniper, poplar, aspen, cottonwood. And today's index, as I said, is up around 11, 10.8. For those who don't know what that relativity means, the pollen index runs from 0 to 12. Doesn't go any higher than 12, so we're at about an 11 now. And things have not peaked just yet, but are about to. And we're about to experience one of the worst allergy seasons that we've had in many, many a moon. So we want you prepared naturally. We want you the best alternatives, and to use the best alternatives, and to be safe and healthy, and to be able to move through these days and weeks of allogenesis. We wait for spring for a long time. It's a rough winter up in this part of the world, and finally when it starts to warm, the sun comes out whenever that does happen. With it comes all these foreign bodies that are floating around out there called pollen. And a lot of these pollen, foreign bodies, foreign proteins called pollen, find their way into your immune system and unfortunately trigger a lot of mast cell response, which produces histamines and immune cells that get very reactive, and it's your body, it's your immune system that actually produces these symptoms that are virus-like symptoms. You can get sick stomach. As we said earlier, you can get very foggy brain, unable to concentrate, which is horrible for kids, for working people alike. But that's really how nature works. When your body can't identify with a foreign protein like pollen or food, like wheat allergens or whatever, then it essentially has to basically pull the triggers on all kinds of alarm systems in the body. So a lot of the inflammatory properties that you experience are kind of like your body's alarms, trying to get you away from that stuff, saying, hey, don't do this anymore, don't eat this anymore, don't breathe this stuff in, move away from where you are. But your body doesn't know that you can't move away. You're surrounded by it. So we got to really support your immune system. Lower the histamines. That's extremely important. A lot of these natural medicines we're talking about, the bioallers, really important. These are available at Good Health Natural Foods. The bioallers, they make a variety of homeopathic tinctures, droplets, that you put under the tongue. Easy to take, tastes like water, easy to dispense with kids. And these are really, really inexpensive, very, very effective. And I think this time of year you want to look for pollen drops. You get into the fall, you might look for the weed drops, ragweed. Not so right now. But the pollen drops right now are at a premium. That's where you want to go. So get down to Good Health right away and get the bioallers bioallergens, homeopathic pollen drops. Es muy importante. This is the season for that stuff. The dosing on that stuff is, I think, 6 drops under the tongue 3 times a day. Kids, you could do like 4 drops twice a day. It doesn't take a lot. But this will get your immune system to activate. And again, according to very recent research that was performed and published on the 27th of March, just a few short weeks ago, researchers, specifically lead researcher Sandra Lynn, medical doctor who was working at Johns Hopkins Medical down in Baltimore, did most of this work. A review of 63 published studies confirming that small amounts of the homeopathic tinctures that we just described a moment ago, like the bioallergens drops that you can get at Good Health, as effective or more effective in many cases, as or more effective as Zyrtec, as the traditional medicines, also as well as the traditional medicines that you receive through shots, the allergy shots. Now, I mean, I know a lot of kids love to get shots at the doctor. Kids love getting shots. The minute they see the needle come out, they all get excited. Can I have another shot, please, Mom? Not. Kids hate shots. Adults hate shots. We all hate needles, let's face it. So this is really a great boom as far as that goes for folks who would rather turn away the needle and find a safe, viable alternative. In fact, there is one now. There always was. But now it's been published in the Journal of American Medicine, so it's okay now. It's okay. Dr. Oz will soon be telling you it's all right. Everything's all right. It's safe. These medicines have been around for 30 years, but now, because the Journal of American Medicine says it's okay, it's okay. 30 years ago, they told you it was a bunch of bunk. Now they act like they invented it. That's the way the game is played. Nonetheless, safe, effective. And again, as we pointed out a little while ago, we're talking about 63 studies involving 5,131 participants. In 8 of the 13 studies, researchers found that there was strong evidence that the homeopathic drops were 40% more effective and more effective at reducing coughing, wheezing, and tightness in the chest compared to traditional medicines and inhaled steroids. Okay, now listen. Let's take a second on this. There's a lot of people that I meet throughout the week that are using inhaled steroids. These are powerful, powerful medicines. They produce some potentially profoundly adverse side effects. They're steroids, which means they're going to artificially stimulate your adrenal glands, your stress glands, which means that over an extended period of time, there is the possibility, if not likelihood, of doing some interference with your own personal hormonal productions in your adrenal response and your thyroid. I've seen many people, of course, that have lost weight or gained weight as a result of use of these steroids because of the interference of the adrenal glands and the thyroid. Not unusual. Read the PDR. Physician's Desk Reference. It very clearly points out the negative side effect potential of medicines like steroids. I've seen people absolutely wiped out on steroids. Wiped out. I see it all the time. Quite common. So now this remarkable report from Johns Hopkins that was published in the Journal of the American Medicine says very clearly that in 8 of the 13 studies, the homeopathic medicine was 40% more effective at reducing coughing, wheezing, and tightness in the chest when compared to inhaled steroids. So wait a minute. I get a 40% better bang for my buck without the negative side effects? Sounds pretty good, Mark. That's the whole point. I think you want to get down to Good Health Natural Foods. Take a look at the bioallergens pollen drops. If you've got any kind of allergic rhinitis, asthma, a lot of folks, of course, have their asthma really stressed out during this time of year as well. So take a look at that. Also, we mentioned Butterbur before the last break. Butterbur has been widely studied. Scottish studies also have confirmed the efficacy of Butterbur. In an open trial at the University of Heidelberg in Germany, 54 adults, 16 children with asthma reported a decrease in the number, duration, and severity of asthma attacks during 2 months where Butterbur therapy was compared to baseline therapies. In addition, the participants demonstrated improvements in forced expiratory volume, a measure of the amount of air exhaled in a forced breath. Participants were allowed to use either asthma medications as needed during this 2-month trial. The Butterbur was found to be equally as effective. So Butterbur has been widely studied. You can check it out, look it up on the internet. Butter, like the word butter, and the part of that word is bur. Butterbur, one word. There's a Dr. Schapowal, Schapowal, Dr. Schapowal, who is from Switzerland. He's done most of the lead research on that from the University of Dundee. Dr. Schapowal. He's evaluated all the different studies in Switzerland. He's done many of his own studies in Scotland as well. But Schapowal makes it very clear in his research that Butterbur has demonstrated significant improvement in total nasal systems, etc., when compared with the traditional Western medicine. So Butterbur has shown itself in study after study, placebo-controlled trials involving as many as 330 patients. So check out, again, do your homework. I always ask the folks who listen to this program, don't take my word for anything, just pick up my information, do your homework on it. Butterbur, 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 compare its effects as opposed to pharmaceutical drugs. And the objective is, again, here to lower the histamine response, enhance immunity, lower symptoms safely. It's all about, can you do this stuff in a safe way that doesn't really bring about any other problems? Folks are really kind of almost programmed to use one medicine that causes 2 other problems, and they take 2 other medicines for the other problems. It's like the average person's on 11 medicines or something. I think I read somewhere the average 50-year-old person is on 11 medications. 1 for the original problem, the other 10 for the problems created by the first medicine, or the second or third or fourth medicine. It gets to be kind of convoluted because you're not dealing with the way nature does business. You're dealing with the human component. And human component is all about the Benjamins. If I can get you on 11 medicines, it's more effective economically for me. If we can stabilize you, you'll be happy. Your insurance company will pay for it. Premiums will go up, and everybody will go home happy. Except for you when you got to pay your insurance premiums, but you'll be symptom-free and you won't give a damn. Kind of how it works. Anyway, so there are natural alternatives. The 2 that I would really refer you to in your research would be the homeopathic drops, the sublingual, which means under the tongue. You don't have to do the shots. I can see the allergy doctors out there pulling their hairs out right now. But we're pointing you to this test, this study, this meta-analysis is a better way to put it. Scientific review of 63 published studies by Dr. Sandra Lin from Johns Hopkins Medical School. Recently, March 27th, published in the Journal of American Medicine. It says, hey, not so fast, doctors, that we can abate these symptoms much more safely and certainly as effectively as your steroids, etc. So check that out. That's available in Science News, Science Daily. I love to look at that site. It's a very interesting site. Science Daily. Check it out. If you can get back to the March 26th issue of Science Daily on the internet, well worth taking a peek at. I think it's a great article. It makes it very clear that homeopathy is a great way to go. Also, as we said, the other component of this thing is, as I always mention, you got to eat right. There's a lot of information, a lot of great research information that makes it very crystal clear. I had no trouble finding this at all. I tell my patients this all the time, so I found that I was vindicated in being a pain in the neck about eating right. Because a lot of these researchers say point blank, that allogenesis is allogenesis. It's compounded. So in other words, there's enterogenic, there's exogenic. There's internal allergies from foods, there's external allergies from the environment. So if you're suffering more from the external environment, it's partly because you are polluting your internal environment. One of the single most important things you can do to alleviate allergies is to not create problems for yourself dietarily. So it's not about the idea of just eating a ton of crap and then suddenly giving yourself medication that causes side effects. That is lunacy. And you don't have to get stuck behind that bus. You have more options and alternatives and empowerment than you're aware of. The world doesn't want you to become aware of your power. Are you kidding me? You are too viable a candidate for expenditures, for revenue streams. They'd rather get a piece of your revenue stream. The more powerless you feel as a consumer, the more susceptible you are to being part of their revenue stream. You have the power to make a difference in very simple ways. Eat better, number 1. Drink plenty of water and stay hydrated, number 2. Number 3, think about natural medicines that are simple, easy, inexpensive, over-the-counter, readily available, and very effective now, we're finding out. More effective than we ever thought. I should say more effective than most of you ever thought. I've already known this. I watch people remedy these issues for years, safely and effectively. But the horse is out of the barn. For those of you who work for Lilly, Pfizer, Merck, sorry. These things are very effective, very safe. Again, Butterbur is one of the superb medicines. One of the ones I haven't mentioned yet is nettle, N-E-T-T-L-E, nettle. It's another very effective herb at lowering histamine response. So we mentioned the BioAllers Pollen Drops, number 1. Number 2, Butterbur. It'll give you indications on the side of the container. Just follow directions. You don't have to take any extreme dosing here. And number 3, nettle, N-E-T-T-L-E, nettle. 3 really viable solutions. The only other one that I'd really think to mention will be mentioned after the next break, because I think that it works exceptionally well. Again, a lot of great research. I'll tell you about it right after these messages. Stay right where you are. My name is Mark McCullough. You're listening to The Natural Health Show, heard on 95.9 WATD. Stay tuned.
Are you one of the 20 million Americans suffering from neuropathy, shingles, or chronic nerve pain? In the last 3 years, many people have discovered excellent and affordable treatment for diabetic, post-chemotherapy, and other types of neuropathy and chronic pain. Dr. John Hayes, chiropractic physician since 1981 on Route 53 in Norwell, has had such astounding results with his unique neuropathy program that he's now teaching his remarkable system to doctors around the country. His most recent book, entitled Beating Neuropathy, remains a bestseller. In fact, Dr. John Hayes is the world's exclusive educator and trainer for Rebuilder Medical Technologies. Call Dr. Hayes' office 24/7 to schedule a free neuropathy analysis. Call 781-659-7989. That's 781-659-7989. Call now while free neuropathy analysis slots are open.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Food, Allotest Medical Labs, Santee Holistic Center, and Healthy Living Magazine.
Stop that sneezing and coughing. It's all done. We've already given you the information. You're going to shoot out there tomorrow, show up at the doorstep of Good Health Natural Foods, and remedy your spring allergies. Easy enough to do. I promised during the last commercial break that I was going to give you the final solution that I think is extremely impressive and very important. It's called Quercetin, Quercetin, Quercetin. Quercetin, of course, is a byproduct of vitamin C. And we refer to vitamin P, as in Peter, quite often on this show, and most people are not aware of what vitamin P, as in Peter, is. But vitamin P, as in Peter, is a very powerful, powerful natural medicine that you rarely hear about unless you're listening to this program. And I always tell people the inner part of the orange, the inner part of the grapefruit, you hear me always go on to this routine and tell you that you shouldn't throw away that inner pulp in your orange and grapefruit because that is vitamin P. And all that does, among other things, is strengthen and fortify the integrity of your lumen capillaries. You got these little capillary networks that'll rupture, and you can hemorrhage and all that stuff, and you don't want that to happen. So if you tend to kind of rupture easily or black and blue easily in these little capillaries, it means you're vitamin P deficient. Vitamin P as in Peter. And quercetin, Quercetin, is actually vitamin P. Dr. Albert Szent-Györgyi. Dr. Albert Szent-Györgyi. You probably haven't heard of him, but you should have, because he is the Nobel laureate who discovered vitamin C. Dr. Albert Szent-Györgyi, who invented or discovered vitamin C back in 1930, found that vitamin P was just as important as vitamin C, but we lost that message in the translation. That not only is the orange important, but the stuff that you wrap around it, that white gooey stuff or that white sticky stuff that everybody peels off their orange and is in the middle of their core, that is vitamin P, or citrus bioflavonoids. These are flavonoids that exactly, as I said a minute ago, strengthen the capillary walls and the lumen capillary. They're also important for the common cold. There are over 4,000 flavonoids that we've since discovered, since his discovery of vitamin C. Over 4,000 that have been discovered. Quercetin is one of those. It's a bioflavonoid, very powerful, and it has been found to occupy two different pathways in the body. It is one of the most efficient anti-allogenic properties in the planet. Quercetin, Quercetin, especially when combined with vitamin C. So a lot of research finds that when you take quercetin, Quercetin, 500 milligrams of quercetin with 500 milligrams of vitamin C together, there is nothing that'll match its anti-allogenic effect. Nothing. Very powerful anti-allogenic substance, and one of the reasons, it neutralizes the histamines. Neutralizes the histamines with great effectiveness, great efficiency. Quercetin. Let's take one quick call. Bill, welcome to the show.
Hi. I'm a longtime follower of the show.
Thank you.
It's been an enormous help over the years, and I've been to see you a couple times over the last couple of years. I have a question. Recently, I've had a problem with what you would call ADHD, executive functioning in particular, and I went to see a low energy feedback guy, and he hooked me up, and he said, "Oh my God," he said, "did you ever have a big blow to the brain as a kid?" I said, "Yeah, I hit a concrete road. I fell severely." He said, "Because in the front part of the brain shows very little activity in what you call the executive functioning part, and this has been a real bugaboo in my life, this executive functioning stuff, particularly when I'm in a non-structured situation. In a highly tense structured situation, I do respond." Do you have any thoughts on any supplements or therapy or anything that can assist with that kind of thing?
I would prefer dimethylaminoethanol, DMAE, which used to be a pharmaceutical substance, but back in 1980, I think it was the FDA, if I'm not mistaken, that actually decided to make it an over-the-counter substance. So they altered its property, and basically it's available at Good Health or any health food store out there.
One of my favorite stores.
And 200 milligrams, you can certainly find a 200 milligram capsule of DMAE.
Okay.
I'd recommend 3 a day on an empty stomach. DMAE.
I have a second question around high blood pressure. I do have 3 blocked arteries, and with your recommendation, it's the angina's kind of gone away. I've been taking
wonderful
serapeptase, nattokinase, and eating a very healthy paleo diet.
Good for you.
And for several months, and it's really helped. There's several things you recommended to me.
Great.
But my cardiologist wanted me to be on a blood pressure medication called verapamil. So I've been taking it for 4 months. And yes, it did reduce me from 145 over 90 to about 120 over 80. But it's the only pharmaceutical I take, and it's given me fainting, or not fainting, but I get real dizzy when I get out of bed or out of a chair. But that I can tolerate, but it's also affected my short-term memory. And in the PDR, indeed, has those effects.
Yep.
For somebody who's got blocked arteries like me, which is probably a major contributor to the blood pressure, are there any alternative healthy ways I can deal with blood pressure? Because I really want to get off this junk.
There's 2 things that I recommend: C9 peptide and C12 peptide. C9 peptide. Dr. Michael Murray makes a product called ACE peptides, or peptidase. C9 peptide. Twin Labs makes a C12 peptide. I can't think what it's called, blood pressure control or something like that, but it's made by...
You take both of those?
No, I would start with the C9 first. Take them for a month and see if it helps you. If they don't, then go to the C12.
Yeah, I've had it. I just don't want to do pharmaceuticals anymore.
Well, these are pretty effective. I mean, there's great research on them, and they're actually isolated peptides that come from fish, and believe it or not, from dairy. And actually, the one that comes from dairy is not even a problem for folks that are dairy sensitive. So it's an isolated peptide, very effective.
Okay, thank you. About 2 months ago, you recommended somebody on this show. You mentioned Quercetin Plus for prostate issues.
That's correct.
If my notes serve me right.
No, you're absolutely right.
And is there any... I looked up online because I decided it was time to start taking something like that. Is there any particular brand? Because there's quite a number of different formulations I've noticed.
You know, I feel like there's no better brand than, the top 3 or 4. I think Solgar is a very reputable brand. I think Jarrow Formulas is, of course, terrific. I think NOW is very competitive. I think those 3 are probably as good as you can get.
And they have formulations of...
Yes, I like the Jarrow Quercetin quite a bit.
Okay, and but it has to be Quercetin Plus?
That's correct.
And
wait, back up. Quercetin Plus is the trade name of a given product. It's a trade name of one specific company. You can just get the Jarrow Formulas Quercetin straight up.
So you can just get Quercetin, and that'll really help.
That is right, yes.
Okay, terrific. If we have time...
We don't. We're actually out, but thank you so much for
another time. Hey, thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, thank you so much for listening tonight. Of course, we want to make sure we thank Ryan Stanton for our terrific engineering and production work. Ed Perry, we want to thank you, of course, each and every Sunday. Good Health Natural Foods for being our flagship friend and sponsor over the years. Don't forget to get on down there April 27th and 28th for their grand opening. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we want to thank you, the listeners, as well, for being tried and true each and every week. And my name is Mark Mincola. As I always suggest each and every Sunday night, please be wise, be aware, be well, make it a healthy week. Good night.